Welcome everyone to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers, and tonight, a little bit of good news. We've been talking about a lot of studios getting closed and things like that, but just before the final hour, Tango Gameworks has been saved. If you're not familiar with them, they were the ones that made Hi-Fi Rush that Microsoft decided to shut down shortly after, they made a really good game that came out. Everybody loved it. They were picked up by the, Krafton Inc., which is a South Korean game company. They're best known for PUBG and the Callisto Protocol. And they acquired Tango Gameworks and even the Hi-Fi Rush IP from Microsoft, but not all the others. So it was pretty much that one, which is good news. From what I understand, the entire staff was kept along with that acquisition, so nobody lost their job. So right before they got the call from the governor to stay the execution, So, yeah, so that's really great news, I think, stupid move on Microsoft's part. We talked about it, multiple times before then about them closing their only Japanese studio and their foray into that market. But it was a sudden and exciting bit of news. Like I said, in a time where we're talking about studios closing all the time. It sucks, but too bad that the Ghostwire Tokyo and Evil Within had to be left behind. But at least they got to come out with Hi-Fi Rush. So does that mean there's going to be something else with that, or what? But I don't think I saw any details on what the stipulations were. The only thing I saw was that they got to keep Hi-Fi Rush, but they're also had to leave behind the Ghostwire Tokyo and the Evil Within IPs. So that's really good news in a tumultuous time for video game studios and a really boneheaded move by Microsoft. But, if anybody knows how to make money, it's PUBG, right? Those guys know how to make money because that's all they do is make money, and everybody wants to be like PUBG and Fortnite, right? So everybody wants to be like those guys. So I'm glad to hear this. I'm glad to hear that they got saved right before they were going to get closed down, and that everybody basically is keeping their job. Now let's see how long that stays, right? Are they going to, they now own them. Are they going to be able to keep everybody on board, or are they going to have to let some of those people go? Time will tell, but hopefully they keep them on board, right? So I guess we'll kind of go around so everybody feels about this little bit of good news for a studio when everybody's closing out. I mean, we just heard about Ubisoft having to lay off some more people not too long ago. So, Shane, what do you think about Tango Gameworks getting pulled out of the pit at the last minute before the Sarlacc swallowed them up?
Like you said, it is time for some good news in the gaming world. And this is good news. It's not perfect news because there's a few IPs that were left behind with Microsoft to do whatever the hell Microsoft is going to do. And with their track record lately, ain't going to do shit but screw something up. Pardon my language. But it's great news. These people, not employees, not developers, but people. They're saving their livelihoods. Now, granted, we don't know all the ins and outs of the deal, but they have their jobs for right now. Whether or not they're making the same pays and benefits and all that, I don't know, but it's still good news. It's good news because somebody came in and did something that's positive in the gaming industry right now. You're not getting a lot of positivity. My biggest hurt though is Ghostwire and Evil Within. Ghostwire Tokyo was good, not great, but it was good. It was different. It was unique, and it did its thing. Evil Within, I thought was amazing. I thought 2 was even better than 1, personally. Nick may disagree, but we both love those type of games. We both, love horror games. So that being stuck with Microsoft concerns me. That nothing will happen with those again. I think Evil Within 1 sold decent. I think Evil Within 2, I don't think it sold as well. But I can't remember because it's been a while back. Ghostwire originally released on PlayStation. We reviewed it, and it was, it's a game. It's different. It's unique, and it's not bad. It just wasn't great, in my opinion. But being left with Microsoft is a concern because too many times do big developers, Microsoft is, I don't know as much about how they're going to handle that, but if you were to leave that with EA, you'll never see the light of day again of any of the good IPs. Pat, he's got a few that are being held hostage over there at EA because of situations like this. That's very disconcerting. But to be on the positive side, though, jobs were saved, people's livelihoods were saved, at least for now. We don't know the full story of payments and profits and all that good stuff, but PUBG, like Pat said, is they don't mess around. They like their money. Now, granted, they also did put out the Callisto Protocol, so they take a few hits, but the Callisto Protocol really isn't that bad. I did play some. I didn't finish the whole thing because it was just some me time on a game, and it was interesting enough from what I've played. So hopefully we can see more of these things happen. More developers, that are getting saved. More IPs getting saved. Not by companies that are just these big $1 trillion companies like EA or what's that one that bought everybody up? They bought all that from Square Enix and stuff. I'm brain farting on their damn name, that company.
Now you're talking about Embracer Group?
Embracer, yeah, not them scumbags. EDOs. Yeah, that just buy, and if they don't like it, you're not hitting that set profit margin, even though everybody loved it. You're gone. Your family's going on freaking welfare, and they don't give a crap. They close way too many studios. They buy them up and they close them down. That's all they've done. So I don't want to see developers saved in that direction. I want to see developers saved by companies that are that see their potential and will let them be them without being held at gunpoint to make XYZ amount of money regardless. So because games can be great and not make a ton of money. Then they build up, a fan base later on because the word spreads slow. Because the game world is very packed. I mean, there's just tons of games to play, new games coming out every day. So, but this is good news. It makes me happy because we don't get much good news anymore in the gaming world, and I will take more of this, please. So, Nick, what about you? You're kind of dark and sullen in your room with your black shirt. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, this is a good thing. The bad part is that Microsoft still has the Evil Within and Ghostwire, because I don't think they'll do anything with them. They'll just sit on them forever. I feel like, but it's good for the employees. For that company to get picked up by somebody. Hopefully, PUBG developer or the publisher or whatever they are will be able to, not have to fire anybody, or the company doesn't then just kind of like Embracer did, where they bought up a bunch of stuff and then they ended up just dissolving it later on, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen. It's cool, so we could potentially see a new Hi-Fi Rush. We could potentially see a brand new game from the company. There are games like Shane was saying that, Ghostwire Tokyo wasn't a fantastic game, but it wasn't a horrible game either. It was okay, and it had its moments. The Evil Within is a great series. Hi-Fi Rush is not really my type of game, but I did like what I played, and I liked what I saw of it and played of it, right? Meaning, like, it's not really something that those rhythm type fighting games are not really my cup of tea in most parts, but I liked what Hi-Fi Rush had to offer as far as that goes, and I thought they did a really good job. So I could see the what they did with it, and it really praised their understanding of that. But Microsoft, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, but Microsoft really, I don't know what their thought process is. I mean, because if you think about it, the Evil Within, I mean, we don't have a lot of like horror series that are like Resident Evil, right? Besides Resident Evil, and then you have a company that makes the Evil Within. You could have made it Evil Within 3, and you could have had a horror series that kind of competes in a sense with Resident Evil on Capcom, because Capcom's multi-platform, right? It comes out for everything. But the Evil Within would have been just theirs, right? Just for Xbox and just for the that ecosystem, right? As well as Hi-Fi Rush, or maybe a Ghostwire Tokyo 2, or possibly some new edition. And I just don't get. I mean, from what it seems to me is Microsoft right now is just riding high and mighty on the Activision bus. They're on the Activision Blizzard train, and they're going to ride that thing into the ground, right? It's Call of Duty and World of Warcraft all the way, right? For them, pretty much at this point. Like, and it's understandable because those are big money makers. But again, I mean, they're basically abandoning everything else to focus on those two things. It feels like, and if like I said, Microsoft ain't going to do anything with Evil Within. They ain't going to screw it up. They're just never going to do anything with it. They can't even bring a game out now. If they said, "Oh, the Evil Within 3 is coming," great. By who? First off, who are you going to have it develop it? And secondly, what decade is it coming out on or in? Because right now, like half the games they announced in 2025 or 2024 have pushed into 2025. And still, besides maybe like what is it, Hellblade 2, they haven't had a real as far as successful launch of a game. We had Redfall, and then we had whatever the hell came out after that. I can't remember. And that game bombed as well. And then we had Hellblade, which was really good and scored really well. I don't know how many people played that one, right? I don't know how well it sold, but and now we're waiting on the next thing from them, which I don't even know what that is. It was going to be Avowed, right? But Avowed got pushed into 2025, so I don't know what the next one is this year from Microsoft. I can't remember. If you guys
Call
remember.
of Duty is probably the next thing.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
It'll
that's
be the next thing after
you know?
that. Yeah, but at least they can say it's theirs.
Sure.
But you're right. I mean, they're not going to screw it up because they're not going to do nothing. You can't make a mistake if you don't do it. So, but it's just such a load of crap that I don't understand it. My personal reason. Why would you keep something you're not going to do nothing with? I mean, they know they're not going to do nothing with. I mean, EA has tons of games that exactly, Konami as well. They have all these IPs they won't do nothing with. They won't let individuals, private people make these remasters that everybody's dying for. But they don't want them because it's my goddamn toy and you can't play with it. It's just a load of horse crap. Now, I'm trying not to get off on a negative because this topic is a good thing. It's a good news article. It makes me happy. But we also know that it's a very rare story because developers get screwed over all the time by publishers. So, I don't know. I just wish we get more of the happy stories and less of the rabid dog shit that we've been getting lately with all the layoffs and crap. But I don't think Hellblade 2 sold. It got great reviews, and I just don't think it sold very well.
No, it got bad reviews, by the way. It did not get good reviews.
No. I loved it. I freaking love that game.
So according to this article I found from June of this year, it sold less copies than Redfall.
Well,
and they blame it on the bad reviews. Now,
is that it didn't even downloads?
It did not top the top 50 games played on Xbox for any month since its release.
No, I don't doubt that.
Which means that
I don't remember.
So it did not. It's supposedly the reviews for Hellblade 2 were not great. I'm looking.
It's got an 80 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
GameSpot gave it a 6. Metacritic gave it an 80. IGN gave it an 80. Those were the top 2.
Yeah.
Everybody else is giving it 6s and 7s.
Well, they didn't need the others. They only needed the top 2.
Well,
I personally love the game. I think that game was amazing. I thought
it was boring as hell.
The story, the narrative, the immersion of that game was beyond anything I've played so far, even more than the original. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say it was a perfect game because it did have some balancing issues.
You liked it better than the first one? Is that what you said?
Oh, yes. Loved it.
See, everybody else is talking about
I think
it
was more immersion. I think it was more immersive when I say that.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was a better game.
According to everybody keeps saying that Hellblade 2 got bad reviews, but I'm seeing a lot of 8s and 9s and 7s. Yeah. But a Forbes article that I read afterwards basically said that it sold less copies than Redfall did.
And that I don't doubt because it was a Game Pass game. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a correlation between downloads and purchasing because I
mean, you can't say that because that game was also Game Pass. Redfall was also Game Pass,
but Redfall got horrid reviews. Redfall was bombed,
but it was bombed
before it was bombed way before it was released.
No, what I'm saying is that by your standard downloads, because it's a Game Pass game, it would have been less downloads.
But more people may have been on Game Pass at that point. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a little bit. I don't know what the downloads were. Because more people were on Game Pass, more people probably tried it on Game Pass. I don't know. Yeah. And it could be wrong. Could be just completely, it just sold more. It may have gotten download more because Redfall has as far as the developer, had a better name developer because more people knew about Redfall and all that with stories and everything, the developer. Then, I mean, who makes Hellblade? I don't know. I don't know the developer's name. So,
Ninja Theory.
Yeah. See, I couldn't even remember that. And I like Ninja Theory games. I really like Ninja Theory games. But I don't know. But get back to the actual article. Good news. Need more good news. We don't need bad news.
Yeah, exactly. That game's good. I'm kind of getting off topic, but yeah, I guess according to this, that game failed to top 100 sales, the top 100 games in Europe at any time since its release. And it failed to get the sales numbers that Redfall got.
And that's sad because it's a damn good game.
Yeah.
It's a damn good game. Nick, you didn't even play it, did you?
And the only sales figures or information I could find, it reached 37th overall in number of game sales in May of 2024.
Yeah, I saw that one too, but I didn't like the way that read.
Well, I mean, I don't remember what came out in May of this year, but it wasn't a whole lot. That this should have been like number 24. It should have been like much higher, but whatever.
Yeah, and it was pretty anticipated by the gaming community, but that doesn't mean the gaming community all wanted it.
Yeah. It might have changed now, but on True Achievements, back in June, they had published an article saying nearly 90% of Hellblade 2 Xbox players haven't completed the story.
Yeah. Yeah. I found it boring. I found it boring.
That's a lot of players I mean, at that time, right? That percentage is probably higher or lower now.
Lower.
Right?
Yeah. Or it's the same. Nobody just picks it back up.
Yeah. See, I could understand why, because even the original game was not in everybody's forte. It wasn't everybody's taste because one, do you need to play it with a headphone? No, you should play it with headphones, good quality headphones, because that's part of the immersion. And a lot of people don't want to play a single player game with headphones. I have a great
I have a great sound system. All my games with headphones. I don't think I've heard that. I think if you actually polled it, the majority of gamers play with headphones. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think majority of PC players.
I think the majority of all players play with headphones.
We will put it
to a poll.
In the poll. So
that's what we want to hear from you guys. Do you play most of your games with headphones or without? Like I play occasionally without, but not very often because I have pair of headphones that blow away most speakers that you can get for the same price. You know, so
check our community tab.
There you go
for the poll.
So we'll leave this. We'll get back on topic here. But yes, Tango Gameworks getting saved before D-Day. It's good for them, and I'm glad to hear it. And from what I understand, this is the PUBG developers' foray into the Japanese market. So what is Microsoft's loss is their gain. So Microsoft is losing out on the Japanese market, but this game developer will reap the rewards of Microsoft's boneheaded move. So, you know, you guys got anything else? We'll leave it on a good note and not talk about other bad games that Microsoft, other bonehead moves that Microsoft's done or crap they put out this year or last year, anytime.
Yes, I have one thing to say. Good job.
Yes.
Good job.
Good to hear of a studio getting saved in this tumultuous time for them. All right. So,
ooh, tumultuous. Look at you with the frickin' big word of the day.
This isn't Sesame Street.
It's on his calendar.
Yeah, this isn't the word of the day calendar neither. Don't take it from us because you'll get some bad words here on this one if you try to use this as the word of the day calendar. So that's it. We're going to leave on that note. If you're not already subscribed, come on, help us out. You watched this whole video because you're hearing this spiel and you're not subscribed. Why not? Help us out. You know, we like to just BS about video games because we BS outside of this with each other, and we like to BS all the time. So, you know, if you want to hear more of our thoughts and just get caught up with things that are going on in the game world, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to get notified we put out new videos, and we hope you enjoyed this episode and hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.